Hey, I'm Bob. I've been totally blind since birth, and I'm into scary movies. So, this is part 11 of my Halloween month vlog. I've been filming throughout October of 2021, and today we're just going to talk about a few horror movie scenes that scared the bejabbers out of me when I was younger. So, the first one is the transformation scene from Lover's Vow. I had fallen asleep one Friday night in high school. I'd done a bunch of math homework, trying to get some research papers done or something like that as well. And sci fi was on in the background. And you know how you incorporate certain scenes from TV if the volume's up loud enough into your dreams? Or at least I do that. Maybe nobody else does that. But I'm dreaming about this couple. We're all chilling at this public restaurant. I'm eating a piece of Oreo cheesecake or something like that. And all of a sudden, the lady looks over at the guy and she starts screaming, "You broke your promise, you idiot! I loved you!" And then I wake up and lo and behold, there are the sounds of bones crunching, and the sweet lady is in actuality transforming into a giant gargoyle demon thingy on my TV. I have no idea what movie this is because remember, this is the early 2000s, and my internet does not cooperate with my screen reader very well. I can't just get online and see what I'm watching because JAWS for Windows would read random numbers and letters whenever I would try to click on web pages back in those days. So I have no idea what I'm watching. I am weak in the knees when I get out of bed and run over to the TV in an attempt to, I don't know, maybe turn it off, but the transformation sequence is kind of cool, so I'm glued to it, but at the same time, I'm horror stricken. And I find out a few years later that yes, it is Tales from the Dark Side, and that little story from that horror anthology movie, it starred James Remar and Ray Dawn Chong, I think. So that's one of my favorite segments from that movie, too. Another transformation scene that really got to me when I was younger was from American Werewolf in London. As far as transformation scenes go, I want to say, for me at least, that one has to be the most gruesome out of all horror movies. The one from The Thing is pretty good too, but I think for me, it has more to do with the sound effects. And if you listen to the transformation sound effects they use in a lot of modern day horror films, it's like everyone's using the same stock sound effects, the same crunches and cracks and things. I mean, I'd swear I'd heard them all before, but there was just something about the way 80s sound effects were produced. They sounded so much more real than what's done today. And I don't think I'm being biased. I like quite a few modern day films too. Something about the way the sound effect guy did the transformation noises for the werewolf in American Werewolf in London was just awesome and terrifying. I mean, you know, he's sitting there in his living room with Blue Moon, just this soothing rendition of it playing, and then he starts screaming about how he's burning up and he rips his shirt off, and you know, as he's transforming, his voice is gradually deepening and becoming more bestial. And funny thing about me, when it comes to horror movies, I cannot eat hot meals. I cannot eat a steak and a baked potato. I'm not one of those guys who feels nauseated or anything like that. I don't get sick to the point where I need to go to the bathroom and puke my guts out or anything. But I don't know, when I'm watching a zombie movie or something about werewolves or Cenobites or what have you, and you know, if folks are just casually eating roast or something in the background, I'm usually like, I don't want it. But if I'm watching American Werewolf in London and somebody sets a big plate of cheesecake brownies in front of me from Great American Cookie Company, or you know, chocolate chip cake or anything hot and gooey like brownies, I can eat those with no problems. I don't know why the heck that is. My appetite is just weird, I guess. I don't know. I guess I'm half Majin from Dragon Ball or something like that. As let's see here, other horror movie scenes. The Tall Man from the Phantasm series. Man, that guy, Angus Scrimm, was such a wonderful actor. He did such a great job when it came to playing this horror movie character. it didn't really terrify me that much, but I just got chills whenever, the character, the main protagonist would be doing whatever, and then all of a sudden he just hears, boy, coming from off screen, and you see the tall man approaching. That voice, man, he just had such a unique way of portraying the tall man. And I loved all of his little weapons that he would use, the little buzz balls with saw blades coming out of them and things like that. Pretty nifty. I'd never seen the films all the way through. I guess we're not going to get any more of them now since Angus passed away. But what a cool bad guy. Okay, Creepshow. Creepshow will have to be the last thing I discuss today. And there's this one story from that particular anthology horror film. And of course, Stephen King was at the helm of this movie. No surprise there, but the story I'm thinking of is called They're Creeping Up on You. And it's about, this mean old miser. I think he's evicting people from apartments and taking all their money. Just not a very nice man. And somehow his apartment gets infested with these cockroaches. And as the story, or as the film segment progresses, they're just more and more and more of them. And then in the end of the segment there, they all, I guess, they are attacking him. You don't see what happens. Then you see these folks show up outside of his apartment, and they're laughing, and they're like, "Hey man, you got a big bug problem in there?" I guess they know what's going on. And then you see him sitting in there or laying down in there, and the bugs just all pop out of him. And see, I don't really have much to go by in these old horror movies, because in the 80s, they didn't have descriptive audio narration tracks. And when it comes to producing tracks for the blind these days, I think people tend to focus on the most modern films that come out. And that's okay with me too. I mean, I really want to see Marvel's Eternals in a few weeks with that track included. And one of these days, if they get around to adding narration tracks to Phantasm and American Werewolf and Tales from the Dark Side and all those other movies, that's cool too. But I think there's something to be said about horror movie scenes being left to the imagination. You just kind of imagine what's going on in your head. I don't know if I would be scared any less if I had this stuff described to me. Probably not. I mean, they were so magical, these horror movies in the 80s, and they really went all out when it came to the makeup and the transformation scenes and things like that. The sound effects were just so in your face, and to me they sounded more real than a lot of the stock stuff that they keep using over and over and over again in horror movies today. So I guess that will do for part 11. And in part 12, I think we'll be discussing some of my favorite traditional Halloween-themed TV show episodes that I watch over the years, that I still do watch. And we're probably going to be talking about a few Treehouse of Horror episodes from The Simpsons, and well, you'll just have to see. So be here for part 12. Hopefully this video wasn't too lengthy, and I will hear you guys in the next video. In the meantime, watch out for full moons and gargoyle ladies, I guess. Bye.